What are the best back extension alternatives? These are exercises that are much more effective, they make your back stronger, and they improve your movement. If you're struggling with low back pain and you do need some help, click the link below, go through to my How to Overcome Lower Back Pain, either online or face-to-face consultation and coaching, and we'll get you on the road to rehabilitation. Exercise number 1 is the bird dog. The bird dog is a very simple exercise. We come down onto all fours and we extend arm and leg simultaneously. We maintain level shoulders, we maintain level hips. What's this exercise doing? Well, it's engaging the muscles from your hips all the way up to your shoulder. What that's doing, that's stabilizing the whole area. So what we've got is we've got the glutes at the bottom, the lats at the top, pulling on what's called the thoracolumbar fascia, which is acting like a sheath that covers the entire lower back, that holds it up and in place. What it's also doing is we've got mainly 2 back muscles that are they're mid-back muscles, you would describe them as, because that's where most of the muscle bulk is. But because they join into the thoracolumbar fascia at the lower back, again, they're acting as a low back stabilizer. But most of the muscle bulk is over the ribs, so it would be considered a mid-back exercise. So by using these exercises, what you're really doing is strengthening the whole area and stabilizing the whole area by using the glutes, these mid-back muscles, and the lats to pull the thoracolumbar fascia nice and taut, which basically holds the low back vertebra, or the lower back, the lumbar spine, up in place and stable. Exercise number 2 is a single leg RDL. Now this is doing something very similar, if you do it in a particular way, to the bird dog. So again, we come into position, the weight will be in front of me. Now you could do this body weight if you want to, and I'll show you the body weight one. It's exactly the same as the weighted one, you just hold a weight is the only difference. So we would come into this position, we would extend the leg. Now again, we need to engage the glute, lock the knee out, pull the toes up, so we've got all the muscles of the leg working as well. And then we hinge forward at the hip and hold that position. So again, what we're doing there, if you can imagine the thoracolumbar fascia again as that locking tight over the lumbar spine, holding it up. When we keep the leg straight, we engage the glute, so we extend the hip, and then we come forward. All of this is holding and pulling, mainly on that one side or on this side, it's pulling the thoracolumbar fascia. So what we would then do, which is why I've brought the weight over, is we would have the weight in the other hand, because what we would then do is engage the lats on the other side. So we're getting all across, diagonally across from, say, left hip to right shoulder. We would have engaged, and then the lats are engaged as well. So this is it's slightly more complex because you've got to balance on one leg and do it. Plus you've got all these moving parts which can, it heightens the skill level, so you need to be able to work towards it. So we're in this position, we're back, glutes are engaged, lats are engaged, and then we're up, and then we're back. So all the way, again, it's getting the more muscles active to stabilize the lower spine. Exercise number 3 is a good morning. Now a good morning is a very simple exercise. We have a barbell or a bar of some kind. We place it on our back like we would with a back squat. And what we then do is we hinge forward like a deadlift. So we go into this position, or like a Romanian deadlift, and then squeeze the hips and come up. Now again, with certainly the single leg RDL, this one and the next one, weight will be determined by the individual. Again, if you've got a back problem, you would need to start at the lighter end, understand what that feels like, how your back responds, and then build up to heavier weights. But if you can look at this one again, what are we doing? It's the exact same thing, but slightly more complex. You could even say slightly more functional in the fact that we're hinging at the hip. But essentially what we're doing, we've got a weight on the back. Now, the main difference here is because we've got both feet on the floor and we've got a weight across the back, what's going to be happening is now both sides of the spine are going to be activating. With the bird dog and the single leg RDL, it's generally only one side of the spine that's activating, and then when you swap sides, it will be the other side. But with this one, it's now both sides. So you get more compression on the spine, which is why you have to understand the weight that you're using. But eventually things are going to happen. Shopping bags are going to be heavier than this bar. So there's going to be some degree of compression around the spine in everyday life. So we have to build capacity for that using formal exercise. So we would come into this position, hinging forward, again squeezing hips, lats are engaged, tummy tight. So again, the principles are the same in that we're getting glutes, abdominal wall and lats all engaged, which again, thoracolumbar fascia, holding up and stabilizing the lower spine. And finally, exercise number 4, I'm just going to do a traditional deadlift. Now I'm going to do it with a kettlebell, but again, we've got both feet on the floor, like the good morning. So what we're now starting to do is have both sides of the spine working, both glutes working, both lats working. So we're now working the whole musculature rather than one side and then the other. Obviously there is benefit to one side and then the other, for the very simple reason is that's how most of our life is played out. Walking is one side then the other, then back to the original side and so on and so forth. But when we're lifting, again, posture of the spine. Now we need to maintain the posture of the spine for a very simple reason that when we lose posture, we lose the thoracolumbar fascia. So we need to be able to engage all these muscles so we can maintain that posture, get down and lift. Now the advantage that we have with this exercise and the good morning is that we can really start to increase the weight and take it above what we are potentially used to. The single leg RDL is going to be limited because we're on one leg. Obviously the bird dog doesn't really use any weight. You can add resistance, but there's no real need because you can use resistance in so many other exercises. So we've got the RDL, which again, we can probably take even heavier than the good morning. So we would use that position, engage the glutes, step forward. So to conclude, the best back extension alternatives. Number 1, we've got the bird dog. Number 2, single leg RDL. Number 3, good morning. Number 4 is the RDL. I'm using a kettlebell. You could use a barbell, dumbbell, whatever. But what we are doing is engaging more muscles. We're activating, or not necessarily activating, but using the thoracolumbar fascia and using these muscles to pull that taut to stabilize the lower back. And then what we're doing, or what I've done here, is I've built it in a progressive manner. From the most simple and easy exercise from the bird dog to what could be the most complex and heaviest exercise with the RDL. If you've liked and enjoyed this content, please do hit the like button below. It will help me keep this video ranking. Also hit the subscribe button. And then finally, if you've got any questions or comments, please do leave them below and I'll happily get my answer to you as quick as possible.